Morning, everyone. Let's start with a short introductory video about Eurasia Research.
Across the greatest ocean, walk across the water. You feel defeated, falling on your knees and looking up for some hope tonight. You try to stand up, but you throw your hands up. You no longer have the strength to fight. You've seen too many sunsets, too many days, ending in the darkest night. But on your own, you'll never know, you'll never know. If you believe you move the heights, mountains, across the greatest oceans, you walk across the water. Believe you move the highest mountains, across the greatest oceans, walk across the water. If you believe, they say that all you need is faith, but it's almost like you lost your way. Took a few wrong turns, took a few breaks, falling behind now, looking for grace. Cause you need someone to lift you up, yeah, make right all the things you've done. Cause on your own, you'll never know, you'll never know. If you move the highest mountains, across the greatest oceans, walk across the water. Believe you move the highest mountains, across the greatest oceans, walk across the water. If you believe, if you believe it, you can do anything. You can do anything. You can do anything. You believe. If you believe, you move the highest mountains, walk the greatest oceans, walk across the water. Believe you move the highest mountains, across the greatest oceans, walk across the water. If you believe,
Welcome, everyone, again. Let's move ahead with a short brief about our website. Good morning, Dr. Jahangir.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much.
So, welcome to Eurasia Research International Conference, everyone. Please allow me a moment to introduce Eurasia Research to you in a nutshell.
Sure.
With over more than 1 million satisfied members and associates spread across the globe, Eurasia Research is a scholarly association who have been working nearly for a decade. Eurasia Research has organized several conferences successfully, workshops, and training programs at various reputed institutions and grand venues. Eurasia has been tirelessly working for research world and have not stopped their endeavors during the difficult times also. They have presented research community with online platform which was safe and convenient method to continue their passion. We are an international community of researchers, practitioners, students, and educationists who aim to bring together worldwide researchers, professionals, encourage intellectual development, and create opportunities for networking and collaboration. These objectives are achieved through academic networkings, meetings, conferences, workshops, projects, research publications, academic awards, and scholarships. Some of our key highlights are: we provide scholarship to deserving candidates to promote students and research scholars to participate in the international conference. Young Researcher Scholarship is provided in the form of a full registration fee waiver. We have past vast experience of publishing papers for more than 7 years. Our associated journals publish original papers, review papers, conceptual framework, analytical and simulation models, case studies, empirical research, technical notes, and book reviews. We cater to more than 30 plus themes in the
इसका
area
भी आ
of
जाए ऑफिसर
teaching, and education, and have registered ISSN and have following renowned indexing: Google Scholar, Crosscheck, Authenticate, Crossref, The Keeper's Registry, Script, Portico, Road, Directory of Open Access Scholarly Resources, OAI PMH, Registered Data Provider, and PKP Index. We will soon be applying for Scopus too. We have a wide network of 100 plus internationally acclaimed keynotes across the globe who share their knowledge and guidance with our participants with open hands. We have a large number of committed members and advisors who support us, guide us through their expert opinions and decision making capabilities. We could have thought of reaching here without them. We also encourage our participants to connect with more than 15,000 plus followers on our social media platform where they can share their research and interest. Join our Facebook group and be a part of discussions by researchers and academicians. We have also several collaborations with universities, colleges, and institutes to better serve all interested and like minded intellectuals. With great enthusiasm and pride, we would like to request our participants to enjoy the benefits of our lifetime membership in just USD 60. We have over 10,000 plus members from across the globe. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience and valuable time. Moving forward with the conference. दिखा दिया ये शेयर ये की Welcome everyone again to the Eurasia Research Kuala Lumpur Online Live International Conference. Today is 6th May 2026. We have delegates and participants from 6 countries around the world: India, Pakistan, Malaysia, Vietnam, Guyana, and Dubai. We have several delegates with us, keynotes, and oral presenters. Today, I'll be your host, Mudita Pitwalkar. Thank you so much. She is our Terra president, Lynn M. Shelley, from Higher Education Executive Adjunct Professor, Boston College, Chestnut Hill, MA, USA. Let's see what she has to share with us today.
My name is Dr. Lynn Shelley, and I'm an executive leadership consultant, full professor retired, I am currently teaching adjunct in the executive doctoral program at Boston College in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, and at the University of New England in Portland, Maine, in their doctoral program as well. I've been in the profession for 44 years as a teacher and as an administrator from grades pre-K through doctoral programs. And I consult with colleagues around the world in these areas of leadership and culture building and transformation and strategic planning. And my research is focused in areas such as that, not only in education, but crosses over into other disciplines that have common goals and common strategies that need attention and need to be moved forward in this ever-changing global.
So ma'am, the first question, we would love to hear about your research journey, how it's going, and the project you're handling right now.
My research, my name is Dr. Lynn Shelley. I'm president of the Eurasia Terra group, and I'm very happy to be here. I have been doing some research and starting some writing about the leadership in this new global environment, transformative leadership in the new global environment that we are living in, and hoping that this research will help current and future leaders at every level in any type of an organization. It's very interesting because of the AI connection, because of the global impact that the cultures and the variables that are happening around the world are having on every organization.
And ma'am, my next question would be, could you please share which paper you are working on that in this book?
Transformative leadership and in a global environment.
Good to know that. How do you manage to balance your teaching responsibilities alongside your research work?
Well, my balance is that I've always done work and research that I can use and apply to my administrative and consulting positions. Right now, I am an executive leadership consultant. So the research that I'm doing really applies to my role as president of Terra, but also in work that I do with colleagues that are doing practice, and I can help them along the way to enhance their leadership skills.
And travel internationally is part of the research work.
I travel to the Terra conferences as the president. Usually I do a keynote. I've been in education for 44 years, every level. Most recently, the Dean of Graduate and Professional Education at Salient University, Massachusetts, United States. And prior to that, I was Dean of Professional Leadership Programs at Endicott College in Beverly, Massachusetts, United States. And my main travel was with Eurasia Terra as president and keynote speakers. So that's what I have done. I've also done other conferences, but once I became president, I felt like I needed to really give my focus to the organization, to Eurasia Terra, and to be able to impact around the world. Most recently, I sat on a dissertation committee at Boston College, Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, with a vice president from a university in Russia. And she was, her dissertation was focused on changing culture to adapt to the global world. And Olga did a fantastic job. And of course, when I have those kind of opportunities, I talk about this wonderful organization so that we we get a presence from.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for that. And then my last question would be, what advice would you give to early career person, like the beginners, and what advice would you like to give them?
The advice is multifaceted. I think that there are several things that they have to keep at the forefront of their minds. That research that they do should always be something that can impact their work, their organization, and or the world. So it has to be current. So to that point, they have to be proactive in where they're focusing their research and knowing what's happening in the world all the time in their certain professions, if you will. They have to add. They have to value add to their profession. So that would be very important. They have to have an open mind that their research, especially if it's quantitative, might not necessarily bear out the results that they want. And that's okay, because that shows what really is impacting their work and their organizations and the work. And the third thing that I would do is have them network with people and colleagues like myself and other people doing work, not necessarily in their own professions, but if it's a crossover kind of focus for research that crossovers different professions, that they network and become familiar and have standing meetings with other researchers, because that can be so rich and can help people so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving the advice, and it will be very helpful for them.
So she was our president of Terra. Let's move ahead. We would like to share one of our past participants' experience with you. Mr. Jose Elmer is Officer Junior from University of Mindanao, Tagum, Philippines. Let's see what he has to share with us.
How are you doing today?
Well, I'm great, and thank you for the opportunity to be interviewed by Eurasia.
You're most right. So starting with the question now,
Yeah,
first, how do you define the role of artificial intelligence in transforming modern education?
well, that's the question, the first question. Okay, well, right now, our world is being shaped by the advent of artificial intelligence. That is something that we do not get out of. Okay? So there are a lot of debates about whether artificial intelligence is really affecting how we deliver learning towards our individual classrooms. But since it is inevitable, it is something that we need to embrace. We need to use artificial intelligence more appropriately in aspects of learning. So it is a misconception that artificial intelligence is used only for cheating, in much sense, making fake fake papers for some of the students. These are some things that we need to address, but we cannot deny the fact that artificial intelligence is here to stay, and we need to integrate it to learning and to ensure that we can build ethical standards how to use artificial intelligence in learning.
That's great. Moving ahead to the question. Cricket. How can institutions ensure that AI enhances learning without replacing the human element in teaching?
Well, it does enhance learning. In fact, in the case of linguistics, we focus on conversational analysis, meaning you can use artificial intelligence to improve how you speak or how you use English for communication. Because there are features, like for example, in ChatGPT, they have this conversational uh, feature in which you can talk with the AI, the artificial intelligence, like it's a native speaker level of conversation. So you can really do that. However, as institutions, we also need to create measures how to ensure that students will not use AI, you know, cheating or in other aspects of, for what purpose. I guess institutions around the world should create that standard, should create that ethical standards in order to ensure that students will use AI responsibly.
In what ways can AI support personalized and adaptive learning for students?
Well, you cannot AI could not replace, of course, like books, materials learning. It could not replace it. However, AI can be a guide. It can provide a timely guide for students on how to study, on how to create the papers. So it is more important as well that institutions may need to provide important trainings, especially for teachers on how to use AI. Yes, that's what they can do. In fact, in other aspects of platforms related to education, they are really using as well artificial intelligence. So it is something that we need to be used to, but we also need to balance it, how to use it, especially in here.
How should educators and institutions like academic and state over the lens of results?
I am so sorry. Can you repeat the
Sure.
question?
How should educators address these issues like academic dishonesty and over reliance on AI tools?
Well, it's a matter of creating a program that can really assess whether an output is AI based. Because we cannot deny the fact there are really academic outputs out there that were made by AI. It's a matter of what tools we can use. Right now, we have Turnitin, we also have Grammarly. However, it has been proven by a research conducted that even papers written before AI was flagged out as AI generated. So meaning the system is not as accurate as it plays. So therefore, we need to improve on ensuring that we have these tools to really assess or check whether an output is AI generated. However, we can still flag out if it is a guide, if it is an outline. It's a matter of how we really use it. It's on the user rather than the system or the application.
What advice would you give to young researchers who want to start in research work based on your own experiences?
What advice I could give for those young researchers? Okay. Well, research is not like a walk in the park. It's not like you're waking up, you are now a researcher. It's a process. It takes time for you to really have a grip on how to do research. It's okay to stumble. My best advice is you enjoy the faults, you enjoy the mishaps, you enjoy the mistakes that you made in doing research, because that's how we learn. You know, Thomas Edison, it took him 1,000 times to really got the best out of the light bulb in inventing the light bulb. That means you can also stumble as a scientist, as a budding scientist. Will begin with mistakes, so it's okay. It's a matter of embodying humility, the importance of the value of being humble. Because in our community, in the research community, you will encounter critics, you will encounter questions, you will encounter rebuttals of your research. So there's nothing wrong with that. You need to be open. So if you have a humble mindset, you will accept corrections and then apply it to your research, because research is a process. It's a scientific process. It doesn't end. It always does go on. You know, it builds up, it progresses. So that's the beauty of doing research. It's a never-ending journey. Sometimes some people, some scientists are really getting older. They're like in their 90s, and yet they're still doing research because it's a never-ending process.
Yes, feedback. My last question.
Yeah.
What's the feedback about the conference?
My feedback of the conference. Well, actually, it's several conferences that I have attended, both online and face to face. My first conference was in Bali, Indonesia. When I first attended, and I won the best paper during that conference in Bali, Indonesia. This was way back in 2019, before pandemic. And what I learned in Eurasia is that there is a potential that it can go bigger. Yeah, that's the truth there. Because we have smaller conferences, that's true. But it would be nice if we have a bigger conference, like very big conference with a lot of audiences, just like other conferences. Because Eurasia really does have good venues, good presentations. And during my presentation in Japan, I really learned a lot from other presenters, especially that focuses more on economics, the influence of technology in economics, especially in education, politics. There were presenters as well about politics, about public works. They also have that, like delegate is presenting on that. Really very, very diverse. What I like about Eurasia is that it's very diverse. There are a lot of researchers we can do. But I would really like to see more of very big conferences. And I'll be attending on that. I'll be there.
So, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Thank you for attending this session. We are honored to have you, and it will be great to see you at our future conferences as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So he was our eminent speaker, Jose Elmer, sharing his research experience and thoughtful words. Moving ahead with the conference schedule, we have first session of our keynote talk. Next, team activity and photo session. The third session will be of the technical talk. I request everyone to rename your Zoom account with your full name in English. This will help us to record your presence. You may ask your questions related to the presentation in the chat session while the presentations are going on. All the certificates, receipts, and proceedings will be sent to the participants within a week on their email IDs. The proceedings will include all the full papers and abstract accepted for the conference. Moving ahead with the publication process, the publication process starts once the registration is complete. The author needs to send their papers, consent forms, and reviewer details on the email ID convener@eurasiaresearch.info. The abstract and papers received will be first published in the conference book of proceedings online. Only the selected papers will be moved in our publication timeline. The review reports will be sent to the author once the review process is over. The final stage of publication starts after receiving the revised papers from the authors. Please note that the publication process takes around 15 to 20 days after the conference dates if all the editorial guidelines are followed within the given deadlines. So today we have our first keynote speaker, Dr. Muhammad Jahangir Khan from Namal University, Mianwali, Pakistan, will be presenting on the topic a review on unearthing the potential of natural hydrogen in landscape of renewable energies. Dr. Muhammad, please start your presentation. Your mic is muted, kindly.
Thank you very much for giving me this
Thank
opportunity.
you so much.
Okay, I hope my presentation slides are visible to all of the participants.
Yes, it is visible,
Okay,
sir.
right. Thank you very much. So, uh, very good morning and greetings from this part of the Eurasia, the Pakistan. I will be presenting my research on very innovative renewable energy source, the white hydrogen. Probably many of you know something about this great potential of white hydrogen. I will follow a very systematic presentation content with an introduction of this renewable energy and overview of other energy sources, the potential of hydrogen energy, particularly what we are talking about today, and its mighty challenges to make it a formalization in terms of policy and in terms of its practical implementation in modern era. And later we will see the conclusion. So as we all know, the energy demands are growing with the time, and but they are very essential need to run the socioeconomic system uh, uh, and the modern technology. So consequently, the consumption of conventional energy sources like the fossil fuels, in particular, they are consumed on larger scale, but they have their negative impact on the climate, and we all are facing the climate change scenario somehow by artificial sources, including those consumption of the coal, gas, and the other fossil fuel sources. And the Sustainable Development Goals are force us to be alert and to make some conscious practices about the other renewable energy sources like the solar, wind, hydro, and nuclear energy in some part of the projects. But somehow the renewable energy projects have attracted the world, but gone through a barrier, or we can say the challenge during the COVID-19 phase. But after the crossing this challenging period, the renewable energy sources got some success. And recently, if we can compare the amount of the renewable energy sources are consumed, mark their place around 26% in overall energy scenario, but still a major portion is being consumed by the fossil fuels. So under the impact of climate change and industrial growth, it is needed to think wisely about the renewable energy sources to make but it is one of the challenge to adopt a new technology, particularly in low GDP countries, including the Pakistan and some other similar countries in Asia and Africa, in particular, and around the globe. There are many challenges in adaptation of these renewable energy sources. Their technology, their installation and their transportation. And one of the major thing is the adaptability in the mindset of the public and the human being and the government authorities who are the policy maker. And the once they all are set on the same page, it will make the path easy to be moved towards the renewable energy sources. So keeping in view the perception, we have worked out in one of the renewable energy source, which is very well known as a natural hydrogen. It is naturally carbon free and non-polluting, identified in some of the rocks or the mountains where beyond the sedimentary basin, and particularly the igneous rock, the rocks which are made up from the lava and the magma, and they once they cool down, they have gone through a geological processes. So it means this type of the hydrogen exists naturally, and in particular the carbon free. So the other type of the hydrogens, like the gray hydrogen, like the blue hydrogen, or the green hydrogen, which mean the hydrogen emitted from the industrial plants, have been gone through all the filtration processes, are converted, or make it environment friendly. So this type of hydrogen is different from the gray or the blue hydrogen, but it occurs naturally, and it's no doubt nature's gift, requiring minimal human intervention to be extracted. So if we compare in terms of its percentages, how the renewable energy contribute over 4 decades, it would be one of the choice, like how one can compare uh, the energy consumption over last 4 decades. So around to 2040, which mean next 14 years, we will be depending half of almost 47.7% on the renewable energy sources, including several number of energy sources like the biomass, large hydro, geothermal, which is very important element of the in terms of energy, and the small hydro, wind, solar, and photovoltaic, or the marine tidal wave and ocean waves are also considered as a source of the energy and to generate the energy consumption units. So talking about the white hydrogen, it's basically a geological phenomena, and we might be many of the participants belong to the domain of earth sciences or the geology, or they are familiar with this very popular diagram, which defines the origination of the fossil fuels in a cap-like structure. If we if we could see the arc-like structure of this uh, 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 diagram, the anticlinal phase covers the gases on its top. Just because of this hydrogen density, it occupies the top of the structure, and it is easy to obtain or extract during the drilling process for the hydrocarbon exploration activities. So in this way, the natural hydrogen is generally exist beneath the surface of the earth, and majorly it is formed during a serpentinization process, which is explained in a way like the serpentinization is a process in which the mineral, which is rich in iron and silicon, so when the hydrogen, the water body or the water molecule combines or mixed with this natural resource, it produced the natural hydrogen through through a geochemical process. So in that sense, the all the activities where these serpentinization or the rocks which are rich in iron content are present, and they have integration with the water resources, maybe from naturally or artificially, ultimately it will gone through a hydrogen storage tank, and one can exploit it by identifying that place where this hydrogen exists, and one can extract that hydrogen through a drilling process, which is very well known or commonly used for the hydrocarbon drilling drilling and exploration activities around the globe. So in this, based on this philosophy or the conceptual diagram, there are several countries which are eagerly looking for this resource, and they have been successfully extracted the natural hydrogen around the globe in different parts of the continent. You can see in Australia, in particularly in the north of the China, and some in the Africa and in US as well. So you can see there are many number of the project which are under development phase, but they have a good potential source of the area in terms of natural hydrogen and its extraction. This is the overall geochemical phenomena and its hydration and oxidation process. The mineral which is enriched rocks are present. The olivine got through the hydration process and got the serpentinized product. So as a byproduct of this geochemical reaction, the hydrogen is formed, and it could be extracted in many ways through the along the fault line or the traps which are being present beneath the surface of the earth. So all these energy can be extracted through the drilling process and by cutting the rocks, and ultimately one can make its storage tanks and next transportation phenomena. So this is a simple comparison between the green hydrogen, which I explained earlier about the hydrogen which has been cleaned or the purified through the electrolysis process as a hydrogen emitted from the different industrial zones. But this hydrogen exists naturally, and it is carbon free, and many of the projects which are in the oil and hydrocarbon rich reserves, this hydrogen is a byproduct of those region where the oil and gas are being capped or the tapped in the geological basins. For example, the geographical distribution, if we are talking about its distribution around the globe. So the largest deposit of the white hydrogen which has been discovered up to this date are discovered in the France. In the northern region of Lorraine, the deposit is estimated to contain 46 million tons of white hydrogen. So that huge reserve of the white hydrogen, which is almost more than half of the current global annual production of the gray hydrogen, right? So this is another interesting zone for the white hydrogen emerged in 2016 from the Mali area, later discovered in the US and Europe, Russia, Australia, Serbia, France, Oman are also the futuristic zones where the white hydrogen and its projects are being tapped apart from the China and the Australia as well. So one can make a general overview on these hydrogen projects which are distributed around the globe, and there are many leading companies are making their businesses and they are providing their services in terms of this newly renewable energy source, the hydrogen, as a content, and it's a good sign. The public acceptability is one of the important factor in this new energy type, which mean if someone has discovered but it is not publicly acceptable or public I mean the government authorities and the public, it mutually agreed to use those resources, then the success would be on its climax. So this is a global scenario in which one can see the hydrogen application would be estimated in 2060 would be much greater as compared to the today. So in this way, the right. So how to tap these natural resources? Geophysics will play its role. The integrated studies, including the seismic and gravity and the magnetic surveys, would able to promulgate or to highlight those serpentinized rocks based on their physical properties, the density, permeability, and the seismic velocity. So ultimately, one can make a model for the occurrence of this natural resource, or the potential of hydrogen could be calculated or estimated in terms of Earth's resource. So the main issue at present is the transportation and supply management of this type of the hydrogen. If we pack 6 kg in a car tank, needs compression of 400 to 700 bars. Alternatively, its liquidation needs very low temperature, around minus 253 degrees centigrade, and 3 times the tank volume. So that's transportation is one of the challenge, but with the further problem is in the networking of the supply pipeline and the filling station with safety measures. No doubt, it's one of the risky projects, but with careful HEC standards and the guidelines and the innovation in the technology would be would make easier to overcome these challenges in coming years. So my thoughts or my readings suggest the white hydrogen reserves are estimated significantly larger than the fossil fuel, offering a long-term and sustainable energy source, because there is a huge reserve of the hydrogens, and they are the byproduct of fossil fuel as well. Since it could make the path easy once a land has been tested for the hydrocarbons like petrol and gas by the petroleum industries, and there are several active projects for the of hydrocarbons in Pakistan and around the globe as well. But the land could also be tested to another alternate source which is present in the same land, so it could make the path easier. So white hydrogen open new opportunities for the institutes to prioritize on research centers and collaborate the research scholars working in this domain of the renewable energy source. So it opens new business opportunities, it opens new exploration opportunities as well. With all this, thank you very much for patiently listening my my talk, and we can collaborate with Eurasian platform and talk about in detail on other platform as well. So thank you very much from my side. If you have question, please let me know. I will try to explain you.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. Thank you for addressing all of us with your informative and enlightening speech. Participants, please put your questions in the chat box. It will be answered by the speaker. Moving ahead, we have our second keynote speaker, Satyendra Kumar from ABES Engineering College, Ghaziabad, India. We'll be presenting on the topic polymer-based nanocomposites for light-emitting devices and environmental remediation. I think Mr. Satyendra Kumar is not present with us today in the conference. Let's move ahead. Our next keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Sunny Joseph Kalayathankal, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, Kerala, India, will be presenting on the topic fuzzy modeling and decision-making applications in the real world. Dr. Sunny Joseph.
Yes.
Please
Can you
start.
hear me?
Please start your presentation.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear your voice is audible and your screen is visible to us.
Okay. Thank you. Actually, fuzzy modeling and decision-making applications in the real world. Actually, why need fuzzy? In our daily life, we frequently deal with vague or imprecise information. That is, some information are not exact, incorrect, or vague? So also some information are inefficient also. Information available on the basis of some criteria, and the criterion values are not crisp but fuzzy sets. Over the last few decades, fuzzy logic has been increasingly used in computer modeling or mathematical modeling or any modeling research. Since Sade, 1965, published the fuzzy set theory as an extension of classic set theory, it has been widely used in many fields of application, such as pattern recognition, data analysis, software engineering, system control, etc. This is Sade. He was an electrical engineer. The unique characteristics of fuzzy set theory in contrast to classic mathematics is its own various membership functions instead of crystal real values of the variables. What is all the real world data we know are crisp. For example, temperature 30 degree, 40 degree, 50 degree, etc. All values are crisp values. But in fuzzy, the values are lies between only 0 and 1. 0 and 1 only. 0 is absent, 1 is present. You know the two-state devices. Any device which gives two states. In Boolean algebra, it is true or false. In the electric switching network, it is on or off. So the fuzzy set theory, the main content of fuzzy set theory is a membership function. You know that there are infinitely many real numbers in between 0 and 1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.111, etc. up to 1. So modeling is schematically represent a reality. The objective of modeling is to characterize qualitatively or compute quantitatively the behavior of the system. So what do you mean by mathematical modeling? Mathematical modeling is a mechanism involving equations and boundary conditions or some algorithms of the system, physical, biological, or social, or including respective their. This is a mathematical modeling cycle. That is any real world problem. Simplify the real model, then convert it into mathematical model, then arrive at calculate the model, arrive at a conclusion, and interpret the result. Again, mathematical model can be simulate write down the program of the model, simulate the model, then compute the model and simulate the result. This is a mathematical modeling cycle. Why fuzzy modeling? I already told that all the real world data are in crisp values. So inputs are crisp values. That value converted into fuzzy values in between 0 and 1, including 0 and 1 also. That process is known as fuzzification. From real data to crisp data to fuzzy value fuzzification. After computing a fuzzification, the fuzzy computing model will process this data and produce some output. Output is in terms of fuzzy or in terms of crisp. Suppose output is in terms of fuzzy. Again, this fuzzy can be converted into crisp values. That is known as defuzzification. Actually, defuzzification is a converse of fuzzification and produce some output. I not explain the details what is actually a fuzzy set. Let X be a universal set. It is a mapping from that text to closed interval 0, 1. Closed interval 0, 1 means what? The values between 0, starting with 0 and ending with 1. And all the values in between 0 and 1. Yeah, I already told that there are so many infinitely real numbers in between 0 and 1. That means there are an infinite number of fuzzy values in between 0 and 1. So this is an example of fuzzy set. Suppose the set contains X, Y, Z, U, V, 5 members in the set. So the membership value of X is 0.4, membership value of Y is 0.6, Z is 0.5, U is 0.7, V is 1. That is the maximum membership value. You know the application of fuzzy set in 1985, Sade published the fuzzy set theory. In that time, Japanese people laughed. Why? The real value data from minus infinity to plus infinity can be converted into closed interval 0, 1. Is it possible? Yes, is it possible? This is possible. Nowadays, the washing machine, fridge, AC, everything, fuzzy logic can be easily applied. They are using fuzzy logic. So this is another example. This is some basic definition. I am going to the detail, not going to the detail. What is the complement of a fuzzy set? Suppose the membership value is 0.6. What about 1 minus 0.6? That is 0.4. A intersection is the minimum of the membership value. A unit is the maximum of the membership value. And H of A is the supremum of A, the height of the fuzzy set. When H of A is the height of the fuzzy set, if height of the fuzzy set is 1, that is the maximum of the fuzzy value. That set is known as a normal fuzzy set. Otherwise, it is called subnormal fuzzy set. Suppose there is a class number of the total. There are 50 students in the class. 50 students in the class. So the highest membership value of one student is 1. So that means that that student is highly intelligent. So these are some examples. Then by initiate the models in 1919, initiate the concept of soft set theory, a new mathematical tool for dealing with uncertainties. This theory has potential different applications, a few of which have been showed by models in his pioneer work. This is a soft set theory example. In soft set theory, only 2 elements are there, 0 and 1 only. Only 2 elements, 0 and 1 element. I already told you that is a two-state device. There are infinite number of possibilities in between 0 and 1. So a lot of uncertainties exist in the soft set theory. This is mainly because the theory applied in practical problem that deal with the two-state divide overall. To avoid this problem, PK introduced the concept of fuzzy subset theory, which also deal with uncertainty. This is an example of fuzzy subset theory in between 0 and 1. In this table, Wij, every element in the table is corresponds to omega I and parameter gamma j. For omega j is the membership value omega I in f of gamma j. That is the ij entry of the set. Here I am introducing a simple fuzzy model, very simple fuzzy model. The first definition is E-bank. E-bank is a square matrix. Entries Wij equal to number of attributes for which the membership value omega I exceeds or equal to the membership value omega j. That is a principle from operation research. The number of compare two rows, the number of values greater than or equal to number of values of the other row. This value is greater than omega j greater than or equal to 1. I equal to j, omega j equal to n. That is the diagonal elements is equal to n, where n is the number of parameters of the system. Then first definition is the model parameter, that is ERI equal to sigma j is to 1 to n omega ij. That is a row sum. The param factor is defined as PRJ, that is equal to sigma I equal to 1 to n omega ij, that is a column sum. The efficiency indicator is defined as EI equal to ERI minus PRJ. This is an algorithm for calculating this model. Then here we consider 5 important models software engineering. The spiral model, P model, evolutionary prototyping model, incremental model, and waterfall model, which are denoted by capital omega 1, omega 2, omega 3, omega 4, and omega 5. The 3 main criteria are people, process, and technical. The 12 parameters of the above 3 main criteria are better manageability, user involvement and feedback, cost, complexity, criticability, flexibility, reusability, and documentation. These are the fuzzy soft set from collected data. The collector, there are 12 parameters are there. 12 parameters and 5 models are there. 12 parameters, 5 models. This is a E-bank. How will you compute this E-bank? I already told that diagonal length of E-bank is equal to n, where n is the number of parameters of the system. Here we consider 12 parameters. Then what is omega 1? Compare omega 1 and omega 2. 0.7 is greater than 0.6, so count 1. This is not possible. This is possible. 0.8 is equal to 0.8. Count 1 plus 1, 2. Here not possible. Here possible. 0.8 is greater than 0.7. Count 3. This is not possible. This is possible. Then 1 is greater than 0.6. So count 4. No other possibilities are there. So in the next table, what is omega 1, omega 2 is equal to 4. So we get 4. Similarly, we calculate other entries in the table. Then taking the row sum. 12 plus 4, 16, 18, 28, 38. Column sum. 12 plus 9, 21, 32, 35, 39. So the row sum is 38. The column sum is 38, 39. My 38 minus 39 is the efficiency indicator is -1. Similarly, we can calculate 47 minus 34, 13, 58 minus 21, 37. 23 minus 53 minus 13, etc. So the highest value present in the third row, omega 3. So omega 3 is the best model. This is an optimization table. The optimization decision is omega 3 greater than omega 2 greater than omega 1, etc. So evolutionary prototyping model, that is omega 3, is the best one. So this what is the analysis of the result? The model param ratio is the cumulative impact and it has the following properties. If MVR is greater than 1, then attributes of the system affects the model. MVR less, it is not affected. equal to 1, then the attributes of the system minimally affected. Suppose the membership value is 0.6. What about 1 minus 0.6? I've already told. Suppose today is raining, 60% of chance of raining. So we give 0.6. There is possibility for 40% of chance of no raining. So we give 0.4. So the next model solve the uncertainty and demerits of the fuzzy soft model. I'm going to the details. I'm going to only 2 definitions. An IFS model, induced fuzzy set model, that is introduced by Atanasu in 1985. That is 2 parts are there, membership part, non-membership part. Both are lies between 0 and 1. Then the third part is in the indeterministic part, that is pi c of z, that is 1 minus for mu of c minus mu of c. Suppose the membership value, first part is 0.6, second part is 0.3, then third part is 1 minus 0.6 minus 0.3, that is 0.1. That is uncertainty exists in the non-membership also. These are the example of induced fuzzy offset. So many people are working in fuzzy area. So many people. Fuzzy set, induced fuzzy set, ordered induced fuzzy set, soft set. Today, very important topic, hot topic in computer science is soft computing. That is fuzzy set, fuzzy plus neural network plus software, genetic engineering. Fuzzy plus neural network plus genetic engineering. Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you, Dr. Sunny.
Okay.
Thank you for addressing all of us with your informative speech. Anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat box. It will be answered by the speaker. Moving ahead with our next keynote speaker, Imen Bosait. She is English language educator and author from Dubai, UAE founder. Imen Bosait English Academy, educational initiative currently under development. Will be presenting on the topic Bridging the Gap in English Education, a simple and human-centered approach to learning.
Hi, good morning.
Hello, morning.
Happy day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much.
You can start your presentation.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. Let me start with a simple question. You can hear me well, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. How many of you have learned English for years but still hesitate to speak? I guess many.
Yes.
You're not alone. My name is Iman Bousaid, an English educator, founder and author. And today, I'd like to share why this happened and how we can change it. So for over 14 years, I've worked with learners from different backgrounds, especially women, children, and families. But my work goes beyond teaching English. I focus on helping learners feel confident enough to actually use it. And through my books and educational content, I aim to make learning more human, more accessible, and more meaningful. So, the gap in English education. So here I wrote understanding English versus using English. Here we are producing successful students, but silent speakers. And that's the real challenge we need to address. So as I said here, so learners, they learn, they understand, they pass exams, and even they are excellent in their exams, but they don't use English, they don't speak, they don't communicate. So I have here a real voice from reality, so from my experience. So I remember a learner who once told me, I understand everything, but I cannot speak. She feels as if it's a monster if she's gonna speak English or communicate with anybody. And this is not just one learner, this is millions. She was very intelligent, really. She understood everything, grammar, vocabulary, lessons. But when I asked her to speak, she stayed silent. One day she told me, I'm afraid to speak because I don't want to be wrong. And in that moment, I realized that the problem was not English. The problem was fear. So we changed the approach. Less correction, more expression. Less perfection, more confidence. And slowly she began to speak, not perfectly, but confidently. And that changed everything. And this becomes even more powerful when the learner is a woman. Because when a woman finds her voice, she empowers herself, her family, and she empowers a generation. I'm not against men or boys, I'm sorry, but this is my approach. All my respect to all men in the conference and everywhere. So, why this happen? Because actually we focus too much on correctness, on grammar, and not enough on confidence. We teach learners to avoid mistakes instead of giving them the courage to speak. So in my experience, confidence comes first because confidence is not the reward of learning, it's actually the starting point of it. And in reality, learning starts with courage because when learners feel safe to speak, accuracy improves naturally. How can we apply this? So, in my work, I focus on three simple things. First, creating a safe speaking environment. Second, I encourage real-life communication. And third, I normalize mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. It's part of the process. It's part of the learning process. What changed for learners later? When we change the approach, everything changed. Learners begin to speak with confidence. They start expressing real ideas from their real life. And most importantly, they begin to enjoy the learning process because at that moment, we don't just sorry. At that moment, we don't just teach English. Actually, we are unlocking voices. So confidence is not the result of learning. It's actually the beginning of it. So I would like to leave you with one idea. Confidence is not the result of learning. So this is the idea, this is the final idea. And this is the philosophy actually I bring into my teaching and into my books and resources I create. Because when we build confidence first, we don't just teach a language, we change lives. We give them voices to speak. They can express themselves. And this is why what we do as educators truly matters. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Your presentation was really informative and enlightening.
Thank you so much. Actually, too much based on experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Participants, please put your questions in the chat box. Moving ahead with our photo session for today, we'll be conducting a photo session now. I request everyone to please put on your cameras. Yeah, Iman, can you kindly stop sharing a screen so we can move ahead with our
Sorry,
photo
I'm
session?
sorry. Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Yes.
Everyone, please put on your cameras for a group photograph. I request everyone, please start your cameras for the group photo. Zhang, can you hear me? I would request Pushpa Jagannathan to put on the cameras, please. Zhang Zin, I would request you to please start your cameras so we can move ahead with our photo session. Okay. Just a second. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Moving ahead with our team activity for today. Sometimes we miss the opportunity of connection and linkage with our fellow participants of the conference. This team activity is to encourage interaction among all the participants. One by one, we will share the views and solutions on the topic of the discussion. So our topic for today is how friendship affects your brain. Video credits and copyrights by Shannon Odell. I'll be sharing a short animated video with you. Just allow me a moment.
I saw that my PR got approved, but there was a test failure. And, I have become so lazy. Like, the moment I'm like, oh, I've got to go into like build kite and like look at the test logs. Yeah, it's like,
Friendships can hold an exceptional place in our life stories. What is it about these connections that make them so unique? Before we dive into the science, let's first observe one in action.
If I could somehow design a best friend, put together all the ideal qualities of my perfect match, that person would pale in comparison to Priya. She can turn any situation into a good time. Chemistry lab, band practice. What I'm trying to say is, I never laugh harder than when I'm with Priya. And she's always there for me. Like last year after I got dumped by Tit. You know what? I don't even want to mention their name. It felt like my whole world was crashing down. But as soon as I told Priya, boom, she was at my door. I was a wreck, but she sat there with me and listened. We're always on the same page. It's as if we can read each other's minds. And we can talk for hours about anything. I know my mom would say she has the phone bills to prove it.
If it seems like friendships formed in adolescence are particularly special, that's because they are. Early childhood, adolescent, and adult friendships all manifest a little differently, in part because the brain works in different ways at those stages of life. Adolescence is a unique time when peer relationships take focus, and thanks to the developing brain, there are changes in the way we value, understand, and connect to friends. Teenage friends can seem attached at the hip. Scientists describe adolescence as a social reorientation, as teenagers begin to spend as much or more time with their friends than with their parents. This drive to hang with pals may be due to changes in the brain's reward center, known as the ventral striatum. Its activation makes hanging out with others enjoyable and motivates you to spend more time with them. Neuroimaging studies show that this region is highly reactive during your teenage years, which may explain why adolescents seem to place a higher value on social interactions than children or adults. Teenage friendships can also feel more intimate than the friendships of your childhood. This deeper connection is possible thanks to improvements in what scientists call theory of mind. Theory of mind is the ability to understand others' emotions, thoughts, motivations, and points of view, and to realize that they may be different from your own. While it may seem intuitive, this ability hinges on the careful coordination of various brain regions, sometimes referred to as the social brain. Babies begin to develop theory of mind around 18 months or so. Before that, it's thought they believe that everyone perceives and knows exactly what they know. It was once considered to be fully developed by age 5, but scientists now know that theory of mind continues to improve and mature well into your teenage years and beyond. Likewise, regions within the social brain show increased connectivity during adolescence compared with childhood. As a result, teens can better understand their friends' perspectives, allowing for deeper connections to flourish. In the closest friendships, it can almost feel as if you're metaphysically connected, two bodies and minds perfectly in sync. And there is science to this. Your ability to connect with others somewhat depends on the coordination of actions, emotions, physiology, and thoughts. This is what psychologists call interpersonal synchrony. You first show signs of the ability to sync with others as infants, synchronizing movements and babbling with your parents. As you get older and spend more time outside the home, you increasingly show this synchrony with your peers. For example, imagine walking down the street with a friend. Often without consciously thinking, you stroll at the same pace and follow the same path. You and your best friend may not be only on the same page, but also scientifically in step. So are these same processes at play when you take a whirlwind tour of the brain from first spark to last tear with this video, or watch this.
Okay, so any questions about the video? Anyone would like to discuss? No one? Okay, let's move ahead with our conference. Our first presenter for today, Pushpa Jesudas from Electrical Engineering Department, Polytechnic Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, Malaysia. Will be presenting on the topic of development of a real-time integrated sensor for water quality monitoring. I would request to please start your presentation. Ma'am. Pushpa Jagannathan, I would request to start on your mic and please present. Am I audible? Everyone, am I audible?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I would request Pushpa Jasdas to please start your presentation. Let us know if you are facing any technical issue.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, ma'am.
Yes. Could you please play my recordings, presentation recordings,
Okay, sure.
as I'm having a technical issues. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure, we'll be sharing on your behalf. Thank you for informing us. Just allow me a moment. I'll be sharing the slides and you can explain. Is that okay? Am I audible to you? Is that okay? I'll be sharing the slides and you can explain.
Hi.
Is my screen visible?
Yes. Can you hear me? Is it clear?
Yes, we can hear you. Voice is clear.
Morning to
Yes.
the
Okay.
respected panels and audience. My name is Pushpa Jagannathan, and I'm presenting on behalf of my teammates Harik Jesudas and Janani Jesudas from the Electrical Engineering Department of Polytechnic Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, Selangor, Malaysia. Our project is titled Development of a Real-Time Integrated Sensor for Water Quality Monitoring. I hope This presentation gives you a clear picture of what we built and why it matters. Water pollution is a serious and growing problem in Malaysia. Did you know that 97% of Malaysia's raw water supply comes from rivers and freshwater sources? Yet, out of 189 river basins nationally, 30 are slightly polluted and 3 are heavily polluted in Selangor Group. Many of these rivers have been described as dead, devoid of aquatic life, and heavily contaminated. A major turning point was the Sungai Kim Kim incident in 2019, where over 4,000 people were affected, 111 schools were forced to close, and the cleanup cost the government had to bear was 6.4 million Malaysian ringgit. These pollutants included dangerous chemicals like benzene and toluene. The core problem is that the traditional lab water testing cannot provide a real-time, continuous reading. There is no early warning when the contamination occurs first, which means the response is always too slow. Here, our project was designed to solve exactly this problem. Traditional water quality testing has 3 critical limitations. First, it cannot provide a real-time or continuous water quality readings. Secondly, it has no early warning capability. By the time the result come back from a lab, the contamination may have been already spread. And the third, the slow response time increases the risk of widespread harm to communities and ecosystems. These gaps motivated us to develop a smarter and fast monitoring solution to this problem. The objective of our study, firstly, is to provide real-time measurement of water quality parameters through IoT connectivity. Which means that when we do the measurement, there will be an immediate result displayed on the system. Second, to issue an early warning notification the moment pollutants are detected. Third, to design a system that is adaptable, which is suitable for rivers, tanks, fisheries, and many more. Fourth, to ensure the system is portable for easy deployment across the multiple locations. And the last one, to offer a cost-effective alternative to the existing commercial monitoring system without compromising on the accuracy. Now, let me walk you through our system design. Our sensor array consists of 6 probes. So we chose this sensor, which is a key parameter for water quality measuring. As you can see in the figure, there is a 6 probes shown in the figure. The pH probes measure the alkalinity of the water. The turbidity sensor detects suspended solid and cloudiness. The electrical conductivity probe identifies dissolved ion and salts. The dissolved oxygen probe indicates the microbial activity and water health. And the oxidant reduction probe gauges oxidizing and reducing conditions. And the temperature sensor provides thermal data to correct the readings of other sensors. For the hardware, we used an Arduino microcontroller to read the sensor data and a Node MCU Wi-Fi module to wirelessly transmit the data to the cloud. On the software side, we store the data in Firebase real-time database and display it through a Flutter mobile application, which shows live readings and line graphs in real time. One of the most important features of our system is its early warning capability. Means that once the pollutant or impurities of the water quality is detected, it will immediately send the warning to the user. Okay, this will help the user to stop the pollution at the right beginning before it becomes worsened. The sensor data is continuously compared against the Malaysian National Water Quality Standards for Class 3 rivers. If any of these parameters exceeds or falls below its safe threshold, the app immediately triggers a push notification. With these 6 independent thresholds monitored simultaneously, even a single breach raises an alert. This enables a rapid response before contamination spreads or causes harm to the public. To validate our system, we tested it across 3 distinct water samples. In the first test, we used clean tap water as our control. Here, all 6 sensors returned normal parameter values and no push notification was triggered. This confirmed that the system correctly identified uncontaminated water without raising a false alarm. As you can see, the result shows from the app, screenshot from the app. The result obtained from the testing with the clean water shows all is good. In test 2, we used a solution of chalk powder and dissolved table salt. The electrical conductivity spiked significantly due to the high salt content, and the WDT sensor voltage dropped, which indicating the presence of suspended chalk particles. Push notification were triggered for both of these parameters, while all other sensors remain normal. And this confirms that our system can accurately detect and isolate specific types of contamination. Collected from a household water filter backwash, the WDT voltage dropped remarkably due to a high concentration of suspended solid. The dissolved oxygen also fell, suggesting elevated microbial activity. The system correctly triggered alerts for both turbidity, WDT, and dissolved oxygen. All 3 tests done together validated that our system performs reliably across different contaminated scenarios. Next, my teammate Harit Jisudas is going to show you the demonstration of our project, give you a clear picture.
The video is not working. Next, please. Hello. It's not working. Hi. Okay, so I'm so sorry for the technical error. So what is he trying to do is explaining the video. Sorry, that's he's doing a demonstration video on our product or our project. He's introducing the 6 sensor types and how it's going to work. Okay, that's the temperature sensor, and yeah, this is the first We did 3 tests on water samples. This is the first one with the clear water. So the apps will show all normal reading, which doesn't trigger the push notification to alert the user. This is for the, if you can hear the sound, that's a push notification for the second water sample, which is a chalk and salt. And this is the third sample, the water sample from water filters backwash. Yeah, here you can see almost, I think few readings shows that it's a surpassed the threshold, which is indicating abnormal in the water quality, and it will immediately trigger the user. So this is the 6 critical or most important water quality indicator that we are checking on using the sensors probes. So that is basically our device. I think that's all on the demonstration video. So basically, what advantage is of our product is it is a low cost, it's portable, and the most important thing is this system will prevent further pollution to the river or further damage to the water supply by detecting it at the earlier part. So we will prevent the pollution to be spread to other place. So that's the main advantage of our system. It is an early warning system for the user. So I think that explains what is my presentation about. So that's all from me. Thank you so much. I'm open for questions. Thank you. And again, my apologies for the technical problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your wonderful, informative speech. Participants, please put your questions in the chat box. Will be answered by the speaker. Moving ahead with our next presenter for today, Xin Zhang, Institute of Advanced Study, University of Malaysia, will be presenting on the topic exploring multimedia assisted practices for educators, professional development in English language, teaching in rural higher institutes in China. I would request to please start your presentation then.
Sorry, I will share my screen here.
Sure.
Could you see the
Yes.
PowerPoint? Yeah, can?
Yes,
Okay.
screen is visible.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Janxin from the University of Malaya. Today, I will present my study title, Context-Sensitive Framework for Multimedia System Professional Development for the English Foreign Language Educators in Rural Chinese Higher Education. These studies use a mixed methods approach to explore how multimedia can better support the teacher's professional development in rural context. For the research background and the gap in the global context, digital transformation is reshaping the education, and multimedia has become essential in teaching. However, in rural areas, educators face significant challenges such as limited infrastructure and weak institutional support. More importantly, the rural educators are often represented in the research. And more exist studies mainly focus on the urban context and lack the attention to the context-sensitive professional development. Therefore, the study addressed this important gap. And then for the literature review, the previous studies shows access to professional development is unequal, and many programs fail to address the teacher's context needs. Additionally, the teachers often face the heavy workload and lack the institutional support. They are also limited the opportunities for collaboration among the educators. And more, the multimedia assisted practice offers several benefits from the improving the teaching techniques, enhance the student engagement, and the sports, the professional development. However, there are also some challenges, includes the lack of proper training, poor infrastructure, and the need of balanced integration. And this study, I'll use the theoretical framework, show these pictures. There are three key theories. The construct learning theory supports the design of the multimedia learning, and continuous professional development emphasize the teacher's learning. And the technology acceptance models explains how teachers adopt the technology. Together, these theories form the foundation of this study. And then is the conceptual framework. The conceptual framework shows the relationships between the three core components: the multimedia assisted practice, professional development, and teaching outcomes. The multimedia assisted practice serves as input, and through the training programs, collaborative learning, and self-direct learning to contribute to the professional development, and finally improving the teaching outcomes. And then for the research design, the study is guided by the pragmatism. It's use a mixed methods approach to combine the quantitative and qualitative data. This allows for a more comprehensive understanding of the research problem. And then is research questions and as methodologies. This study uses four research questions from the challenges, needs, and current practice, and the designing the elements. And explanatory sequence mixed methods design was used. First, the quantitative survey used the 303 educators, then the qualitative interviews using the 10 educators. The result shows for the quantitative result, the result shows that the teachers perceive high level of challenges. Interestingly, the trained teachers post even higher levels of the perceived challenges. This suggests that the training increase the awareness rather than the reduce the difficulties. And then between the group of difference, there is no significant difference across academic ranks about the challenges. And however, teaching experience matters. Teachers with more than 11 years of the experience reported significantly higher challenges. Then for the needs. It's also no significant difference across academic ranks about the multimedia assisted practice needs. And however, needs increase significantly with the teaching experience. This indicates that professional awareness develop over time. Then for the qualitative research results, the qualitative findings shows that the self-direct learning is dominant, and teachers adopt multimedia practice based on their own needs. Collaboration exists, but it's still limitation. And then I want to show a context-sensitive sport constraint framework for this research outcome. And this framework explains how sport and constraint interact well in the rural context to shape the teacher's practice. And then it's for this research conclusion for implications. It highlights the need for context-sensitive design and flexible learning approaches, and also can extend the professional development research into the rural context, and also calls for the different strategies for the rural education. But there are also some limitations, includes the only focus on the English educators, not selected the rural situations, not and selected rural situations, and future the research more focus on the long studies and AI supported professional development. Thank you. This is my sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zhang. Thank you so much for addressing all of us. Participants, please put your questions in the chat box. It will be answered by the speaker. Moving ahead with our next presenter, Zhu Yi Shuang from Human Resource Management, National Changhua University of Education, Taiwan, will be presenting on the topic Breaking the Silence, Psychological Safety as a Buffer Against the Effect of Fear of Evaluation from Supervisor on Communication Apprehension. Yin Shuang is not with us today. Will be presenting on their behalf. Just allow me a moment to share my screen.
Hello everyone, I'm Zhu Yidong from National Changhua University of Education in Taiwan. Today I will be talking about why employees go silent at work, even when they have something important to say, and what can be done about it. Here is a quick outline of the talk, background and model first, and literature and hypothesis followed by methodology, resource, and we will close with discussion and limitations. Silence in the workplace is more common than we might think and more costly. When employees withhold concerns to protect themselves, organizations lose critical information. The psychological process behind this is underexploited. We know supervisory evaluation is a significant source of threat, but how that fear translates into silence hasn't been directly tested. A well-perceived psychological safety seems likely to interrupt this process. Its moderating role here remains unexamined. This study addressed these three gaps. Before the literature, let me orient you to the overall model. Fear of negative evaluation from supervisors is the independent variable. It's the starting point. The fear elevates communication application or mediator, which leads to defensive silence. The outcome, perceived psychological safety moderates the first link or hypothesis mapped onto this, which I will build up in the literature review. Let me start with the defensive silence. Employee silence is the withholding of work-related ideas or opinions. Van Den and Colin Hughes in 2003 identified three types: acquiescence, prosocial, and defensive silence. The study focused on defensive silence, the deliberate choice to stay quiet out of fear as a form of self-protection, because it's the type most directly tied to threat perception. Fear of negative evaluation from supervisor is the distress employees feel when they anticipate being judged negatively by their supervisor. Communication comprehension or mediator is the anxiety tied to real or anticipated communication situations. The theoretical link between these two is feeling as information theory. We feel is present, it functions as a signal that speaking up is dangerous, which amplifies communication creation. Perceived psychological safety is the belief that one can speak up without facing negative consequences to their image, status, or career. Drawing on social cognitive theory, we argue this environmental perception reshapes how employees interrupt threatening signals. When the environment feels safe, the same fear of evaluation carries this weight. Watson and Friend in 1969 originally defined fear of negative evaluation. Prior work has linked it to organizational science, notably Camber and Argamasi in 2018, but three games remain. First, most research is limited to specific context like interviews. Second, outcomes are behavioral only, leaving the underlying psychological process unexamined. Third, there is no theoretical framework explaining the mechanism. Our study addresses all three. Based on feeling as information theory, hypothesis 1 predicts that fear of negative evaluation from supervisors positively predicts communication apprehension. The logic is straightforward. Fear acts as an informational signal that speaking up is dangerous, and the signal inflects employees' anxiety about communication. Hypothesis 2 process that communication apprehension mediates the task from FNE to defensive silence. Pinder and Hallows in 2001 showed that highly apprehensive individuals anticipate negative outcomes and choose silence over expression. Communication apprehension is therefore the psychological bridge between fear of evaluation and defensive silence. Now we introduce the moderator. Through social cognitive theory, we argue perceived psychological safety as an environmental resource that reshapes how employees interpret supervisory threats. When employees feel safe, fear of evaluation simply carries the weight. Hypothesis 3 predicts that psychological safety negatively moderates the FNE to apprehension link, and hypothesis 4 extends this to full moderated mediation. The indirect path from FNE to defensive silence via communication apprehension should be weaker than psychological safety is high. When diagrams here illustrate both effects. For hypothesis 3, perceived psychological safety weakens the FNE to apprehension link, shown by the minus sign. Hypothesis 4 captures how that moderations carry through to the full indirect pathway. Next one is methodology. We surveyed 239 full-time employees across districts in Taiwan, use a two-wave design with a two-week gap to guard against common method virus. Taiwan capture FNE and perceived psychological safety. Time to capture communication, comprehension, and defensive silence. We use Hayes process micro metaphor for mediation and metaphor 7 for moderator mediation. With 5,000 bootstrap resamples and 95% bias corrected on advanced intervals. Turning to the results, hypothesis 1 was supported. FNE positively and significantly predict communication comprehension at the 5% level. For hypothesis 2, the bootstrap indirect effect was significant, with the confidence interval entirely above 0. Governing the mediation, the chain holds. Fear of the evaluations raises apprehension, and apprehension drives defensive silence. The moderation results tell a clear story. The interaction term was significant at the 1% level. Spotlight analysis showed that at low psychological safety, FNE was a strong and significant predictor of communication apprehension. At high psychological safety, the relationship became non-significant and essentially flat. The graph captured this, two very different slopes. Hypothesis 3 is supported for hypothesis 4, the indirect effect was significant only at low psychological safety and strength to near 0 at high psychological safety. Hypothesis 4 is supported. Perceived psychological safety doesn't just soften one part of the chain, it shuts down the entire pathway from fear to silence. All four hypotheses were supported. Theoretically, the study extends feeling as information theory into the organizational domain. Supervisor direct field functions as an effective signal that suppresses communicative behavior. We integrate social cognitive theory to show that perceived psychological safety doesn't eliminate the fear. It changes how the fear is interpreted, making it less likely to generate silence. Particularly, the messaging is clear. Psychological safety is a concrete buffer against fear-driven silence, not just a cultural aspiration. Leadership training that reduces fear inducing evaluation behaviors would meaningfully open up communication across teams. A few limitations. The two-way design reduces common method bias, but doesn't establish social causation. Experimental design would be a natural next step. All missions are self-reported, and the sample is limited to Taiwan, so generalizability across cultures remains open. Future research could extend this model to other types of silence or explore additional moderators beyond perceived psychological safety. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I'm happy to participate in this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think Shuang could not attend today's meeting due to some medical reason. Moving ahead. Our next presenter, Kiang Nguyen Tai from Faculty of Political Theory, Banking Academy of Vietnam, Hanoi. will be presenting on the topic digital transformation, firm productivity, and policy coordination in Vietnam, a business and economics perspective. Kiang. Okay, I think he's not present with us. Let's move ahead with our next presenter, Joshua Ovulabi from Business Administration, Texila American University, Georgetown, Guyana. Will be presenting on the topic Ease of Doing Research and Contributions to Research Output and Impact, a registered systematic review protocol.
Thank you very much.
Welcome. Please present.
I've just shared my screen. I hope you could see it.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Thank you very much. Just a moment. All right, so my presentation, and I was trying to do a couple of things at the same time. I hope this works. All right. So, as introduced, my presentation is on the ease of doing research. And of course, the contribution of this to research output and impact, global scenarios and evidence. So this is a registered systematic review protocol. So what that means is it provides an opportunity to synthesize evidence from multiple sources across the world, following the GBI, that's the Joanna Briggs Institute methodology. And the registration number Prospero platform is being provided. So let me start with the concept itself, the concept of the ease of doing research and why it is important. It is important because there is observable global research disparity. This includes disproportionately high output from the global north. In other words, the global north is responsible for the largest proportion of research output, and we can argue as well, impact. On the other hand, there's only a fraction of global outputs to research from the low and medium income countries, despite the relatively large population. So this calls for attention. And it's important to therefore look at the root causes and evidence gap. So what this study does include taking a look at the systematic differences in institutional environment, since it is this environment that contributes to the global output of research. So rather than looking at data from national sources, I considered it important to take a look at institutional environment. Evidence in literature is also fragmented, so it's important to look at what the literature has before even trying to address the problem. There has been no previous systematic review on this subject, and that's why Prospero registration was required and was allowed. So this gap that I've highlighted is precisely what this work, titled The Ease of Doing Research Framework, is designed to address. Now, there's this conceptual framework, the ease of doing research. So subsequently, when I say EDR, I'm simply talking about the ease of doing research. So there's a conceptual inspiration to this, and that is from the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index. And why is this important? It is because when the World Bank or its sister organizations look at a country or institutions within a country's space, they look at the ease of doing business, and it's been seen as a reliable measure of business enterprise in that environment. So the inspiration therefore is that if we look at the ease of doing research in a particular environment, we can measure and possibly predict research output and impact in such an environment and the contribution of that to the global research output. But to be more specific, the ease of doing research framework is the composite of conditions that include governance, ecosystem, resources, and resourcefulness that determine the relative ease or difficulty with which researchers can conduct research, produce output, and translate findings into impact. So if you look at the Venn diagram, there are actually three key pillars of the ease of doing research. One is the ecosystem. That is the research environment within which researchers operate. The second one is resources and resourcefulness, and it's instructive to separate resourcefulness from resources. So in terms of resourcefulness, we're talking about humans, and in terms of resources, we're talking about means. And the third pillar is governance. This includes research policies and regulations put together as controlling forces. Of course, there will be overlap or point of intersection between these three pillars as highlighted. Now, when they all come together, the framework posits that these three pillars and the interactions between them will contribute to impact. In other words, research output and what is done with that research eventually. So that is the framework. It's been published before. So this now provides a basis for the systematic review that is being done at this time. So to further elaborate on this pillar, so ecosystem factor include things like physical environment, institutional research culture, incentives provided to these researchers, the relationship between academia and the industry, mentorship, for example. Under governance, we have research and scholarship leadership quality, and this is very important. So it is not just about the ability to do research, but the quality provided in that space, institutional and national research policies, ethics, intellectual property, academic freedom, and how that has been managed. Very importantly, government, local institutional government, funding body, industry influence. Now, the third pillar will include resources and resourcefulness, the competence of the researchers themselves, their aggregate qualifications, and the motivations that they have to do research, the funding that is available, laboratory infrastructure and equipment, for example, physical research facility, and very importantly, access to scholarly databases that is obtainable to anyone, irrespective of where they are located. So again, these pillars are quite well defined, and what constitute them are also clearly elaborated on here. So for the systematic review, what are the objectives and what questions would be answered or should be answered through this process? Number one is to have an overarching objective, and this states that this review is meant to evaluate the influence of the EDR pillars that includes ecosystem governance and resourcefulness and resources as defined by the EDR framework on research output and impact globally, by especially comparing the global north and the global south setting. The reason why this is important is if we truly want to see whether the EDR framework is going to work, we need to have comparators. So we are looking at areas that are considered to be, well developed or global north, and areas that belong to the low and medium income countries or poorer parts of the world, so to say. So to be able to do this, instead of going by either quantitative versus qualitative approach, the approach is mixed. So there's a quantitative and there is the qualitative approach. And they follow the PICO framework. PICO framework or PICO framework is a universally accepted or acceptable framework for doing systematic review and evidence synthesis. So for the quantitative review, attention will be paid to the effectiveness of the EDR conditions compared to in terms of their absence or presence in a particular environment or context. So again, what are these EDR pillars? ecosystem, governance, resources, and resourcefulness. The qualitative will deal with the experiences, perception, and perspective of researchers in this environment. Now, to further define what PICO stands for and how it's going to be used in this systematic review. So, P stands for participants, I for intervention, C for comparator, and O for outcome. It's again a universally accepted framework for systematic review. So, for example, when we talk about participants, we're talking about researchers. So these could be early stage researchers, they could be senior researchers, could be PI, for example. In terms of intervention, it's going to be about factors of ecosystem governance, resourcefulness, and resources, and how changes in this factor affect research output and impact. What are the comparators? Absence or presence of one or more of the EDR pillars, and comparing the global south and with the global north. What are the outcomes? To be more specific, the outcomes should be measurable. So things to consider will include publication volume, the quality of those publications, patents, our IP properties that researchers have, H-index, R&D productivity, and so on and so forth. What is the process? One is a scoping search. This was done to have a general view of the data available or evidence available in literature, followed by a full database search, which was done using a search strategy, then followed by reference screening. And the databases considered include the following. So you have about 9 of them that have been listed, from PubMed, Medline, all the way to Scopus, Web of Science, ERIC, African Journal Online, Google Scholar, ProQuest, UNESCO, World Bank, OECD databases, and I've got OpenDoor and these. So this is to ensure that there's breadth, quality breadth, and depth to this work. If it's going to serve a global purpose, it has to be rich enough. Now, selection process. So databases were searched, gray literature was also considered, duplicates removed, and of course, the rest of the sources of articles were uploaded onto the JBI Summary platform, which is a Joanna Briggs Institute platform for evidence synthesis. This has been followed by title and abstract screening, then followed by full text assessment, and of course, the study that are included are then taken through the PRISMA 2020 flowcharts. In other words, this flowchart helps to determine how many articles are considered at each stage, and eventually, at the very end of it, how many articles are being considered for evidence synthesis eventually. Now, it's important to know that when disagreement comes up, it has to be resolved. 2 people have to agree at a time. If they do not, then a third party has to come in and break the tie. Pilot testing was considered to be very important, and when data is not clear, authors of those articles are contacted. And of course, all studies that meet inclusion criteria are to be accepted. So this is to prevent prejudice from the reviewers, and of course, limitations are noted in these sentences. Again, the quantitative aspect of the study uses what we call the appraisal checklist, whereas the qualitative uses the small PICO appraisal checklist according to the JBI Institute. Based on this assessment, or appraisal, the work can either be considered positive, that's green, or unclear, that is, there's insufficient evidence, or negative, that is, it does not meet the criteria that have been set for the study. Then, to be able to synthesize evidence, there has to be quantitative sentences, qualitative sentences, and then they are eventually integrated. So being mixed does not mean that they have to be done in the same way. And altogether, quantitative first, or quantitative separately, qualitative separately, and of course, integration of evidence after that. What are the implications? Why is this work important? I must say that the aspect I'm presenting now is a systematic review aspect, not the EDR itself, which had already been formulated, which had already been published, and which is in literature. It is the use of the EDR to conduct a systematic review. What I'm presenting is a registered protocol for that systematic review. The systematic review will eventually be conducted. But it's also instructive for me to also mention that Prospero had already registered the systematic review and it has a unique number and that could be looked up. So it is a process of accomplishing that I'm presenting. And of course, whatever critique and feedback I receive will also inform the eventual evidence synthesis process. But what are the implications of this work and why is it important? It is the first multi-pillar evidence-based approach to looking at the ease of doing research globally. It follows a graded recommendation approach. Yeah, it addresses research policy and governance. It also addresses research culture and capacity building in different parts of the world. It will also contribute to the ease of doing research framework validation. Very importantly, it considers equity in scholarship. Hopefully, at the end of the work, we are able to also promote this ease of doing research framework for people to use in different parts of the world, especially in their effort to measure how their ease of doing research is contributing to research output, not just output in terms of volume, not even output in terms of quality, but in terms of the impact that their research is making in the environment and the contribution that is being made globally. By paying attention to those three key pillars, like I did mention, of ecosystem, resourcefulness and means, and of course, governance. Thank you very much. I will take questions when time permits. And these are my references. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the wonderful presentation, Joshua. I think participants have some questions. They have put them up in the chat box. Please answer. Okay, moving ahead. Our next presenter, Nurhaz Lisa Muhammad Noor from Department of Information and Communications Technology, Polytechnic, Unku Omar, IPOH, will be presenting on the topic, the use of artificial intelligence as a support tool in programming learning among Polytechnic students.
Thank you. And hello, everyone. I have already sent my recorded video. Can't you help me play the video on behalf?
Sure, we'll be presenting. Just
Thank you.
give us a moment. Yes, please, we'll be presenting and you can explain.
Can't you play the recorded video?
Okay. Did you share with us the video also?
Can't you play the recorded video?
Let me check in our database if we
Sorry?
have your video.
Sorry?
Let me check if we have your
Okay.
video presentation with us.
Okay.
Just allow me a moment. I think we have PPT presentation with us. We don't have your video presentation in our database. Could you please share?
Okay, I will share the recorded video.
Okay, thank you. Is it taking some time? Okay. Your voice is not audible. Please put on the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Please increase the volume and
Tapi slow.
we cannot hear you.
Tak boleh lah mana. Can't you hear the sound?
No, we cannot hear the voice.
Okay, tak apalah. I will present live lah. Share, tapi kejap.
If this is taking some time, we can move ahead and you can present after our next presenter. Please let us know, Nurhalisa.
Okay, move to the next presenter first.
Sure. We'll continue with your presentation after this one. Our next presenter for today, Mona Azizan from Department of Information and Communication Technology, Ongko Omar Polytechnic, Perak, Malaysia, will be presenting on the topic Balancing Benefits and Risks, Students' Perception of Artificial Intelligence in Programming Learning.
Hello there. Greetings, everyone. Um, I would like to ask for the recorded video to be played. Is it with you?
Okay, I'll just check.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, we have your presentation. Just allow me a moment.
Okay then.
Is it visible?
A R I my I will how to rapid the action. Study consists of acts. First, the purpose of the act. Ah,
Is the presentation audible to everyone? I think your voice is not clear in the presentation.
Yes, because it's I mean the video kind of
So you could
stuck.
please, if you could present.
I try. Could you give me some time?
Sure, sure.
Okay then.
Can I continue the presentation first?
Is now technical issue is resolved?
Can't you see the screen?
Yeah, we can share your screen. Just a moment. Mona, kindly resolve the issue. We'll start your presentation after this one. Okay, Nurhalisa, you can continue.
Okay, good morning, respected chairman, distinguished panel member and fellow researcher. My name is Nur Hasliza binti Muhammad Noor, and today I am pleased to present my study entitled The Use of Artificial Intelligence as a Support Tool in Programming Learning Among Polytechnic Students. This explores how AI technology are being utilized to support students in learning programming, particularly in enhancing understanding, problem solving, and overall learning effectiveness. To begin with, the use of AI or artificial intelligence or AI in programming education is becoming increasingly widespread. Tools such as ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot are now commonly used by students as part of their learning process. These tools are particularly attractive because they are able to provide immediate feedback and even generate code solutions automatically. This capability makes them a highly promising resource to support students in understanding programming concepts and solving problems more efficiently. In this context, this study aimed to examine how AI technology is used as a support tool in programming learning among polytechnic students. Specifically, this study addressed four main research questions. First, it explored the purpose of AI tool usage among programming students. Second, it investigated the effectiveness of AI in supporting programming learning. Third, it examined the potential risks associated with the use of AI tool. And finally, it looked at student perception to the use of AI in their learning process. Moving on to the methodology, this study adopts a descriptive design using a quantitative research approach. The respondent of this study consists of students who are currently enrolled in a C++ programming course at the polytechnic level. These students were selected as they are directly exposed to programming learning and the use of AI tools. In terms of data collection, a questionnaire was developed as the main research instrument. The questionnaire was constructed based on a Likert scale to measure student response systematically. A total of 47 students participated in this study and provided their response accordingly. The data collected were then analyzed using descriptive statistics, specifically mean score and percentage, in order to identify pattern and trend related to the use of AI in programming learning. Moving on to the finding and analysis, this section presents the result related to the purpose of AI tool usage among students. Overall, the findings indicate that students primarily use AI tool to support their understanding of programming concept. This is reflected by the highest mean score of 4.15. In addition, students are frequently use AI tool to search for code example and to assist in debugging, with mean score of 4.00 and 3.94 respectively. This suggests that AI is not only used for conceptual learning, but also for practical problem solving during coding activities. Furthermore, students reported using AI tool to explain error message, learn syntax, and improve their programming logic with moderately high mean score ranking from 3.79 to 3.85. However, it is important to note that the lowest mean score, which is 3.04, is associated with completing assignment. This indicates that students are less likely to rely entirely on AI tool to finish their tasks and instead use them more as a learning aid rather than a replacement. Okay, next, this section presents the finding on the effectiveness of AI tool usage in programming learning. Overall, the results indicate that the use of AI tool is perceived as effective by students in supporting their learning process. In particular, the highest mean score were recorded for facilitating problem solving and making learning more engaging, both at 3.83. This suggests that AI tools play an important role in helping students tackle programming challenge more efficiently, while also enhancing their interest and engage in the learning process. In addition, the use of AI tool is also found to accelerate student understanding with a mean score of 3.74. This indicates that AI contributes positively to student comprehension of programming concept. Furthermore, aspects such as increasing student confidence and improving academic performance also recorded a relatively high mean score of 3.70. Overall, this finding demonstrates that AI tools are not only functionally useful, but only contribute to a more effective and engaging learning experience for students. Next, this section discusses the finding related to the risk of AI tool usage among students. Overall, the results show that all mean values are below 3.00, indicating a generally low to moderate level of perceived risk. This suggests that students do not view AI tool as a highly risky in their learning process. However, among the identified risks, dependency on AI recorded the highest mean score of 2.89. This is followed by reduced independent thinking with a mean score of 2.79 and reduced manual practice among students at 2.55. This finding suggests that while the risks are not perceived as critical, there is still a concern that excessive reliance on AI may affect student ability to think independently and practice programming skill manually. Additionally, the lowest mean score was recorded for copying without understanding at 2.34. This indicates that most students are aware of the importance of understanding rather than simply rely on AI-generated answer. Overall, the finding highlight that although AI tools are beneficial, careful and guided usage is necessary to prevent potential negative impact on student learning development. Finally, this section presents the finding on student attitude and acceptance toward the use of AI tool in learning. Overall, the results indicate that students demonstrate high and positive level of acceptance as all means value exceed 3.30. This clearly shows that AI tools are well received among students in the context of programming education. In particular, the highest mean score of 3.98 was recorded for the statement that lecturers should provide guidance on the use of AI tool. This highlights the important role of educators in ensuring that AI is used effectively and responsibly in the learning process. Additionally, students express a strong intention to continue using AI tool with mean score of 3.66. They also agree that AI should be used and allowed in learning with mean score of 3.55 and 3.51 respectively. Overall, this finding suggests that while students are highly receptive to AI technologies, they still recognize the need for proper guidance and structured integration within the educational environment. In the discussion section, the overall finding indicate that artificial intelligence play an important role as a support tool in programming learning. Students primarily use AI to enhance their understanding of programming concept and to assist in solving technical problems, particularly in areas such as debugging and code interpretations. These findings are consistent with the concept of self-directed learning, where students actively take the initiative to use available technology to strengthen their own understanding and learning process. This reflects a shift toward more autonomous learning behavior supported by digital tools. However, despite this positive outcome, the risk of dependency of AI still exists. This highlights the need for appropriate pedagogical interventions to ensure that students do not become overly reliant on AI tools, which may affect their independent thinking and practical programming skill. The main implication of this study is the necessity for lecturers to design structured teaching strategies that integrate the use of AI in an ethical and controlled manner. Clear guidelines should be established to ensure that AI function as a support tool to enhance learning rather than replacing the fundamental learning process itself. So for conclusion, the finding of this study confirmed that the use of artificial intelligence in C++ programming learning has significant potential to enhance student understanding and learning efficiency. AI tools are shown to support students in grasping programming concepts and more effectively and in improving their problem-solving process. However, it is important to emphasize that a balance must be maintained between the use of AI technology and the development of independent programming skill. This balance is essential to ensure that students do not become overly depending on technology and instead continue to develop strong analytical and problem-solving abilities. Overall, the integrations of AI in programming education should be guided in a structured and responsible manner to support holistic and meaningful learning outcomes. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nurhaliza. Thank you for addressing all of us with your enlightening speech. Participants, please put your questions in the chat box. It will be answered by the speaker. Our presenter, Mona Azizan.
Yes, hello again. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna share the slide.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Share. Okay. I'm gonna start. So a very good day to everyone. And greetings to all respected panelists and also participants today. So first of all, I am Mona binti Azizan, and today I will be presenting our study titled Balancing Benefits and Risks, Students' Perceptions of AI in Programming Learning. So the artificial intelligence or AI is rapidly transforming the educational landscape, particularly in programming learning. So tools such as ChatGPT and code assistants allow students to instantly generate code, debug errors, and understand complex concepts. So while this creates many opportunities, it also raises concerns such as over-dependence on AI, reduced critical thinking, and also the academic integrity. So therefore, it is important to examine both the benefits and risks of AI usage in education. So this study focuses on 4 key areas. So the first one is the area of purpose of AI usage among students. The second one is the effectiveness of AI in learning programming. The third one, the risk associated with AI usage. And finally, students' attitude and acceptance of AI tools. The main objective is to understand whether the benefits outweigh the risk. So this study adopts a quantitative research design. So data was collected using a structured questionnaire distributed to polytechnic students enrolled in programming courses. So the questionnaire consists of several sections covering usage, effectiveness, risk, and acceptance. So all responses were analyzed using mean score analysis to identify trends and the patterns. Okay, the findings here shows that students primarily use AI to support their learning. So the highest mean score was for understanding programming concepts, followed by searching for code examples and debugging errors. So interestingly, using AI to complete tasks recorded as the lowest mean. So this indicates that AI is not mainly used as a shortcut, but rather as a learning facilitator. Okay, in terms of effectiveness, students reported that AI helps improve problem-solving skills, and it makes them enjoy because the process of learning quite engaging. So it also accelerates understanding and increases confidence in programming. Overall, AI contributes positively to the learning experience. So although risks exist, the students generally do not heavily depend on AI and show responsible usage behavior. And again, when we look at the risk here, the mean scores are relatively slow, very low. So students reported moderate concerns about dependency and reduced independent thinking. However, the lowest score was for copying without understanding. This one. Copying without understanding is the lowest score mean here. This suggests that most students use AI responsibly and aware of its limitation. Okay, students generally show a positive attitude towards AI. So they agree that AI should be used in learning and express willingness to continue using it. So however, the most significant finding here is that the students strongly believe lecturers or the educators should provide proper guidance. The key insights from this study is that AI is widely accepted as a learning tool rather than just a task completion tool. So while risks exist, they are not dominant. So the most critical factor is instructor guidance to ensure ethical and effective use. These findings suggest that AI supports self-directed learning, where students actively use technology to enhance their understanding. AI improve engagement, problem solving, but it must be integrated carefully. So without proper guidance, there is still a risk of dependency. So therefore, educators play a crucial role in shaping how AI is used in learning. So in conclusion, the study shows that the benefits of AI in programming education outweigh the risk. So AI enhances learning effectiveness, supports understanding, and improve engagement. However, proper instructional support is essential to maintain academic integrity and ensure meaningful learning. So I guess that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mona.
Yes.
Thank you so much for addressing all of us with your outstanding presentation for today.
Yes.
Participants, please put your questions in the chat box. We have with us listener for today, Rahila Siddiqui, Department of English, Prince George's Community College, United States. Okay, with this, we conclude our today's conference. Thank you, everyone. With great pleasure and enthusiasm, I would like to conclude that the conference was a great success. Many people have contributed in different ways to turn this event into a smoothly running conference with very interesting presentations. This conference has resulted in good discussions and networking. I owe my gratitude to all the presenters and patient listeners, to the coordinators and the whole staff of Eurasia Research for their constant support. I would like to thank all the universities and institutions who have sponsored our participants and people who have directly or indirectly contributed in the smooth conduct of this conference. Our upcoming conferences for today, Eurasia Research conducts conferences around the world. In Beijing, in the month of May 2026, in next week. In June, we have our conference in Seoul. Our conference in July would be at Singapore and Bangkok. In August 2026 at Kuala Lumpur. In September 2026 in London. Please refer to your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for turning out in this conference with great enthusiasm. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,